As the tournament draws closer, we wrap up the regular season here at Roughrider Field in St. Mary's. 5th-ranked Wapak comes to town to take on at St. Mary's when we come back on Game Face Ohio.
TSC can save you money.
How?
TSC can save you money with the Emerge.
What's the Merge?
The Emerge bundle plan. TSC will merge your phone, cable TV, and internet in one nice, neat package to save you money.
How much money?
A boatload. The Emerge bundle plan, only from TSC.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
When you see an orange truck, you think G.A. Windsor & Son Company. But the next time you see an orange G.A. Windsor & Son truck, we want you to think green. Why green? Because G.A. Windsor & Son are the original recyclers. Using a modern fleet of trucks, G.A. Windsor & Son Company collects food co-products from restaurants, food retailers, and food manufacturers in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Kentucky. These food co-products are used to manufacture quality livestock and pet care feed ingredients. So the next time you see an orange G.A. Windsor & Son truck, think green.
Dr. Compton has been delivering quality chiropractic care for nearly 20 years. He's committed to helping you find relief as quick as possible so there's no lengthy care plans. At Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, most insurances are accepted and walk-ins are always welcome. Conveniently located in downtown St. Mary's across from Chase Bank. To learn more, visit us online at smpainrelief.com and follow us on social media.
It's the name that you want to remember. Neck and Back Pain Relief Center.
Hello, Frost Roofing.
Frost Roofing holds the same core values our company was founded upon nearly 9 decades ago. We proudly provide quality craftsmanship and top-notch service to each client we serve. We're licensed by several major roofing manufacturers to give you the right recommendations at the best value for your investment. With state-of-the-art equipment, cutting-edge technology, and our honest way of doing business, Frost Roofing is our area's preferred commercial roofing experts. To learn more, visit frost-roofing.com or call 419-739-ROOF.
You get a look there at the Wapakoneta bench as we take the 5th-ranked Wapakoneta Redskins, 15-0 on the season. They come here to take on the 6-7-1 St. Mary's Roughriders. Mike Hirn and Eli Alvarez, and Mother Nature could play a little bit of a role in how today's game will turn out, Eli.
It very well could be, with sprinkles in the forecast, and two teams out on the pitch tonight that really have a big rivalry against each other, not only in this sport, but in every sport. Should be a good one, Mike.
As we get ready, it's senior night here as well. They honored the handful of seniors for St. Mary's before we got started. A lot of those young ladies will probably play large in how this game turns out. The other side around, though, you know one thing. Wapakoneta, we talked about state-ranked, also WBL champs for the first time in 19 years.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for the Redskins. They've already got that Western Buckeye League crown clinched, and now they've got a St. Mary's team that they desperately want to beat after they beat them last year at their home field over there at Ryan Field in Wapakoneta. As we go ahead and take a look at our keys to the game, we'll start with the Wapakoneta Redskins and what these ladies have to do tonight. And their keys start with winning the possession game, being able to keep possession, try to suffocate St. Mary's and moving the ball around. Playing a high line is going to be a big factor as well. If they want to keep St. Mary's, get them on that offsides trap, they want to keep that defense up and high and keep the pressure on the offensive side and control the midfield, making sure it doesn't get congested, moving a lot of their play in and around that area. As we transition now to the keys to the game for the St. Mary's Roughriders and what they have to do to try to pull off the upset here tonight on senior night against the Redskins. Control the pace of the game, meaning they want to go fast, they want to push it out wide and get up the field as quick as possible, and they don't want to get congested in the midfield. If they've got to fight with this Wapak team over possession in the midfield, they're going to lose it most of the time. So they want to get it out wide, and that's why it says wing it. Get it to your wingers out there, push the ball up deep, and try to control the pace. Those are the keys to the game.
How much does the way that the field is right now play with that slowing down a little bit because of the rain?
Well, and the biggest thing is you're going to notice that the ball's not going to bounce as much. It's just going to skip across a little bit. And this being one of the biggest fields in the Western Buckeye League, both in length and width, you're really going to test out what your team's made of. If you're Wapak, if you're St. Mary's, you're used to it. So really the advantage plays to you right now. But the wet conditions could come a factor, especially for the goalkeepers, if it starts getting a little slick out there in their goalie box and it starts getting muddy as well, Mike.
Take a look at what the rest or these two teams have done this season. Wapak comes off a 3-2 win last Thursday against Riverdale. They were up 2-0 at the half. They get a free kick goal from 25 yards out with 27 seconds to go in the first half. And this is actually their last regular season game. St. Mary's has 2 more to end the regular season with Bellefontaine. They beat Fort Jennings last night 3-0 to stop a 2-game losing streak, and that's big for your momentum going into the end of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, you want to stay perfect. That's the biggest thing. If you're Walpaw, 15-0, you'd like to get to 16-0 tonight. And if you're St. Mary's, not a whole lot to play for as far as the Western Buckeye League goes, but if you can spoil that special season for the Redskins, it could be a great night on senior night.
So we'll see how they can do that. This is actually kind of neat, though, too, because this is one of 2 times this week where we've got this matchup. Thursday night, we get the boys' version over in Wapak.
Yeah, and just like last year, those were both great games, and we're hoping to see more of that this year as we're just switch venues for both games. And I mean, I tell you what, this is as good of a rivalry as you're going to get in the Western Buckeye Leagues besides St. Mary's and Salina.
Good crowd already on hand here across the way. A lot of folks smart enough to bring their umbrellas. We will have the kickoff for this one when we come back here on Game Face Ohio.
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Casa Chic in Wapakoneta has what you need for game night. Cheer for our Redskins in sweatshirts, sweaters, handcrafted scarves, hats, and gloves. Casa Chic has a variety of vendors, each with a unique style of their own. From handcrafted pottery to knit items to an eclectic blend of home and garden decor to new and refurbished furniture for any room in your home. Come see what Casa Chic has for you. IC Signs designs, creates, and installs custom eye-catching signs. We use state-of-the-art technology to produce indoor and outdoor signs, LED message boards, and vehicle wraps. We can also help you with LED light conversion, sign refurbishing, custom t-shirts, promotional items, and your print needs. Whether you know what you want or have no idea, trust the experience of IC Signs. Call IC Signs at 419-738-6640.
Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom has been family owned and operated since 1990. We can help you from start to finish with your entire project. Let one of our professional designers put the final touches on your project. Owen Kitchen and Bath now has 2 showrooms to better serve you in Wapakoneta and Lima. Owen Kitchen and Bath, cabinetry that will take your breath away at prices that won't.
Get a look there at the Wapakoneta Redskins. Their starting lineup here for today as they bring their record just perfect on the season. 15-0, wrapping up the regular season, taking on St. Mary's here tonight. 6-7-1 for the Roughriders.
Yeah, and Mike, this is a Walpaw team that last year going into their battle against St. Mary's, none of the seniors from last year had beaten that St. Mary's squad, so that was a big victory for them. And of course, they're hoping to carry it in as you get a look at the starting lineup for the Redskins. 3 seniors and 7 juniors are the upperclassmen, and that's got to bring a sparkle to your eye if you're a Redskins fan, because you got 7 juniors coming back next year from a team that's already undefeated at the moment. That's a lot going forward for these Redskins.
Also important, you get your goalkeeper back.
Yes, you do. In fact, that'll be a big key tonight with Rainey coming back as you look at the starting lineup for the Roughriders and what they've got to offer. Senior loaded as it is senior night, so a lot of them are going to get out there and get a lot of action. A lot of girls that normally play JV getting in for their final home match, and I'm sure they'll come out at some point. So not the normal starting lineup for the Roughriders, but definitely honoring their seniors tonight.
Take a look at what Wapak has done away from home this year. They have been phenomenal. 7-0 away from Ryan Field. 34-4. They have beaten their opponents on the road this year. That's a pretty big differential. Obviously, they've had a couple of games at 8-0, 10-0 that have been a big part of that.
Yeah, and what that does is it really just builds up confidence. When you see the ball go into the back of the net, game in and game out, it really helps your offense out, and then it helps your defense as well because they know they can trust their offense when they send that ball up there. So this is a Redskins squad that they're not cocky, but they are confident about this matchup.
Yeah, and it's good reason. You look at the statistics of what they have done. Maddie Lousey's got 40 points on the year. Emily Rupert right behind her with 35. Those two have combined for 27 goals and 21 assists.
Yeah, and again, it just goes back to what we talked about for the keys of the game for this Redskins squad. It's just maintaining possession, passing it around your opposition, and getting the ball up there and capitalizing when you get into that final third.
So we'll see what St. Mary's will do as they break their huddle there. You see on the screen. Emma Wibbler leading the way with 7 goals and an assist for a total of 15 points. Josie Bowman behind her at second with 12 points. That coming on 5 goals and a pair of assists.
And one thing to point out, Mike, and you addressed a little bit in the pregame, of course, we already know who both these teams will be playing in their tournament draw, as St. Mary's has got the Grand Lake rivals in Salina. They've beat them once this year.
Funny how that works out.
So we'll see if they can do it again, but they're focused on this one first.
And it's also, you look way down the road. I mean, the winner of that one gets Bath. Wapakoneta starts off at home on the 21st against Van Wert, a Van Wert team that's struggling at 3-11 overall and 0-8 in the WBL. But you could almost, it's very possible to see this again down the road.
Yes, it is very possible, as they're just going to kick the ball out, and that's just a move to get those subs in for the seniors, obviously, that got their glimpse of their last games.
A big part of that's obviously Allie Schlosser, all those young ladies getting a big round of applause. As Emma White will come into the game now. So a couple of substitutions already, and you know that's something that obviously you don't get a lot of other sports. I always thought it was kind of a neat thing to be able to see how that plays out, and kind of a more of a gentleman thing.
And now they can focus on trying to get into their rhythm. Both teams here, it's going to be interesting. The first 10 minutes is going to set the pace for both these squads if they can set up and do what they like to do. And for Walpock, that's controlling the ball.
And that's what they'll try to do here. And you look at what their coaches talked about, Mike, for our brand of soccer is all about possession, is what he was quoted in the preseason talking about. And it's worked pretty well, obviously, at 15-0. As the rain is mostly tapered off. It was a handful of sprinkles when we got started. But just a light, quick wind at about 5 miles an hour. As you can see, enough of that rain has made it a little slick on the grass.
Yeah, well, you're going to get a little sloppy play here or there with the rain, but as the night goes on, the field starts to get a little bit more dry. It should clean up, and the biggest thing is just that ball, how it's going to bounce with the amount of wetness that it has already on it.
And there you go. One big spot, and Wapak quickly takes it back away as they work for the second time. And just enough of those plays, too, where you get that extra hop. You think that you have it figured out exactly where it's going to be.
And there's another instance of it right there. That one came in pretty hot, though. So, it's just about positioning and trying to figure out after a while. It's going to take a few passes here or there for them to figure it out. But once they get the gist of it, we should see a lot more clean touches out of both these teams.
You get that as a guy, obviously, for you, who's been a player and a coach on both sides, that you get that just couple of feeling out process in the first couple of minutes. All right, we want to impose what we do, obviously, but we want to kind of set up and see what you guys are looking for.
Oh, yeah, and the biggest thing as a player, especially for me, remember, was just getting those first few touches of the ball. Whether it was, a quick pass to a teammate or whatever, just touching the ball as quick as possible. That way you can get those opening nerves out of the way and you're ready to go.
So each team has been down near the opponent's goal once already, but it's not really anything that's resulting in anything so far. We'll see how that plays out after the first 3 minutes go by.
And again, like I said, you're going to have to use a lot of space here with how big this field is.
Nice lead and knocked right back away. All on the clear by Walpock. Everybody just sort of meeting, and it comes right back to the Redskins. So now St. Mary's trying to clear. It took a couple of awkward bounces.
Well, and especially when you're playing a team of the caliber of the Redskins, on defense, you just want to get that ball out as quick as possible. It doesn't really matter where it goes as long as it's not going behind you.
Well, we can see as Walpock they've tried to set up a kind of a staggered work both times. One time here on the right side, now trying to work back towards the middle. DeBell tried to center it up for the Redskins. Taken away by St. Mary's. Now is that just a couple of throw-ins so far. Everybody's been able to keep the ball in. It's taken those, we talked about the extra hops. It's kept right in front as Walpock now goes on a run, and there you go, just almost on cue of what you were talking about.
Yeah, and that's the perfect play right there, is just to get it out in space. You didn't have a pass of any kind to fall off into, so you just got to clear that and let your defense set up and get back into your formation.
Again, probably the only time you can get away with that, of turning your defense just absolutely waiting. All right, we're not going to get outnumbered here against a team we know that can play fast like Wapak. We're not going to give them extra opportunities as that one's popped up back towards the goal and knocked away by the Roughriders. And nice stop the second time around. That could have been disastrous.
Well, that's a beautiful stop there. Otherwise, it could have been 1-0 quick, and that was just a little mishap trying to punch that one out. But Moore able to recover, and again, that's a sign of a good goalkeeper when you're willing to use your body and your face even to stop the ball than having your hands up trying to protect yourself.
Well, you got a couple of days of rest. That also helps out. You get 2 days before you take on Bellefontaine. Now kicked. Wow, that one headed back up. I think might have nipped the edge of our box out here.
2 subs into the game for the Riders.
Subs
Number 15, Emma
Mary's.
Wibbler, and number 17, Meredith McMurray.
Wibbler and McMurray back in, or I should say in for the first time for the Roughriders. And lights are on. Brighton has mostly tapered off with that rain we saw a little bit ago. There's about a 50% chance, but it doesn't look like it's hanging around. The dark clouds have mostly moved away. Riders not playing back from the left into the center. Kind of, it's not exactly what they were trying to do, but it doesn't hurt.
No, and again, that goes to where they want to work it, and that's up the wings. They're not going to try and go straight up the middle on you, especially with a defense like Wapak and what they have to offer at center back. They're going to work it up the wings, use their speed, and then try to cross it into the middle.
So the ball back off the front of the box now is kicked back towards the center, and St. Mary's just quickly trying to clear it back out behind Katie Lucas.
And you can tell that back line trusts their goalkeeper and Allie Moore playing that pass back to her. Not too many times are you going to see that, especially in high school soccer, where you can just pass it back with a defender right on your back and trust that your keeper can get it away.
I think I've only seen that about 2 or 3 times this year. Both goalies from Ottawa Glandorf and from Kalida have done that, to where, all right, they have big enough legs too that you know that they can put it down there in a hurry. Now Wapak trying to clear it back out. St. Mary's able to keep it in play. Behind Josie Bowman, who gave me a whole list of adjectives to describe herself before this went on. I told her I would use all of them if she is able to score a goal. I will use every single thing that she told me beforehand. And it is a pretty good list. And now it is Wapak and the Roughriders trying to get back on the defensive end. That ball misplayed. It's kind of, that's not how you want to get it back to your goalkeeper.
No, but the buildup was good there for Wapak. Maybe a little bit of a too big of a touch for Rupert there at the end, but they are definitely feeling it, and you can start to feel it build up offensively if you're the Redskins. It seems like a goal's coming the way they're playing right now offensively.
She kind of had that should I or shouldn't I, as she was up on the left about trying to decide whether there was anyone behind her on the lane just about 10 minutes in here to the first half. Kind of got caught in between not making that decision, and that ultimately ends up giving St. Mary's what seemed like, at least momentarily, an easier view of that lead. But no score now as both teams have had quick opportunities. Wapak's had those 2 shots that have ended up back near the goal. Now giving chase back down into the corner. Wapak working it from the box, and we're going to get a throw in right down near the corner. Initially, I thought that was going to be heading towards corner kick territory, but St. Mary's able to clear it out on the side. So Wapak now working with that give and go back towards the middle, and another quick ball into the hands of Allie Moore.
And that was a setup play there for Wapak, trying to get some space just to cross it in, and hopefully they could have found a teammate in the middle, but a good job by Moore to come out and clean it up.
Ball knocked away sort of right into the center of both sides, where both sides had an opportunity to get to it, and St. Mary's ends up with the quick throw in off to the left.
Here's that pace we were talking about with the Roughriders trying to get up onto the wing, but good clearance there by Wapak.
Second time now that Wapak has been able to fight off and advance that way by giving St. Mary's an opportunity to throw it back in. Off to the front of the box, nice clear for Wapak. Wow, that one traveled quite a bit on the line and then took a hop. Now Wapak trying to get the quick run behind Katie Monger.
unfortunate bounce there for Monger. She almost had it if she would have just maybe had 1 or 2 more touches on the ball, but fortunately for the Roughriders, went right to the goalkeeper.
Back up towards the center. Wapak trying to work behind Nicole Richard.
And now that we're about 10 minutes into this, Mike, you can start to see Wapak start to set into their rhythm of things and possessing the ball and trying to use the midfield to then advance it to the outside and get their offense going, where St. Mary's still trying to find themselves just a little bit here through these first 10.
Well, and conversely, kind of something that you touched on in the opening as Wapak makes a substitution to bring in Cami Lenhart, the sophomore outside back, is that St. Mary's has done a good job of filling the lines on the end. Both on the left side when they've come towards us, and now this last time around just ends with a throw-in, but they've done a good job. Now trying to turn the corner is Monger. Got caught on the back line, skips one up in front, was trying to lead for Abby Rupert, and again at St. Mary's, able to skirt disaster.
And what a cutback move by Monger there to even get that cross off, as she got her defender going the wrong way and couldn't connect though on the cross.
Very physical game so far, I've noticed too, by the way. Alex DeBell with mixing it up, I will term that one as. Now I believe back down to the back line, it's her again. She tried to foot one up ahead, but St. Mary's has done a good job of closing off those lanes until it goes across the goal line and a corner kick for Wapak.
And that's the first corner kick of the game for either team. We'll see if any set plays that Wapak tries to set up here.
Maddie Lousy down into the corner for Wapak. Trying to set it up sort of in that dark corner where the lights don't completely reach. Flips one back up towards the center and sent right back out by St. Mary's.
Not the corner you're looking for. Want it higher and a little bit deeper into the box. That was pretty easy for the defense to handle there.
So the first 10 minutes plus already gone. No score so far. Roughriders trying to keep it that way. They've had the more aggressive shots of the two, and right through the foot. Lenhart lifted the right foot just to try and maybe slow it down a little bit. And it ends up with a pair of substitutions for St. Mary's and the sophomore Madison Rust and Tabby Nouse, the freshman.
That's the one as a player out there you're thinking, how did I miss that? I barely had my foot off the ground. But again, the ball's not going to bounce the same way it did if it wasn't as wet out there. And right there is a good instance of that.
Well, I believe she turned her head for a split second too. Tried to look up the pitch and see exactly where everybody in front was going to be her next move. Ball headed out by St. Mary's. Now back to Wapak, kind of dropped right in the middle, and Bowman comes up with it, shoots one right down in front of Emma Wibbler, who will chase it down near the corner and quickly have it taken away. Bowman able to come right back up though and kick it right off the back of a Wapak defender. So Wapak now trying to foot themselves into an opportunity. And again, it's Lousy who shoots it up front in front of, wow, that might have played perfect for Rupert. Off the left side, and again, off the fingers, and a great stop by Allie Moore.
Another great ball played in there by the two forwards, and really right now they're clicking offensively, Wapak.
Unfortunately for them, so is Allie Moore. She had 3 pretty big stops so far, 2 of them from almost point-blank range in the first 13 minutes. The Roughriders now will throw in, trying to get to the front of the box. Couple of bounces up off the toes.
And here's the key for St. Mary's. They've been down in the attacking third quite a few times already in this match, but nothing's really come of it.
So St. Mary's able to keep it away from Emily Rupert. The junior had designs on maybe being able to cut herself back inside. Goes off of her, a little dejected as she stands there, hands on the hips, and waits for St. Mary's to throw one in. Didn't play out how they thought, and ultimately Wapak gets a shot near the goal and a substitution coming up for the Redskins in Morgan Fallon, the
26,
junior.
Morgan Fallon entering for the Redskins.
She will replace Maddie Lousy. St. Mary's has it. It's straight up in the air. Let's get a couple of those we saw earlier on. I always look and see how many in a row come up. I've never seen more than 4 straight headers.
Well, those are the ones where once it's straight up in the air, you're looking around. where's it going, and a lot of times you lose track of it, especially with the bright lights.
Yeah, that also helps. The JV contest, St. Mary's won 3-0 earlier on. So shout out to those girls on the win. The Roughriders trying to get both wins today, obviously, and it'd be important for them because it would put them at 500 on the season with 7 wins, 7 losses going into their last game against Bellefontaine in a couple of days and also the tournament. Wapak now works behind Rupert again. Took a long route to try and get her there, and I felt like maybe Drew Peachy was out of sorts a little bit trying to get to that point.
Very dangerous for the St. Mary's defense, keeping that ball in that box for as long as it was. You got to get it out quicker, and if you're Wapak, you had a lot of time there to try to make something happen, and a lot of people weren't moving around, so both teams missing some opportunities there.
You talked about one of the keys to this game for Wapakoneta was to wing it, and they've done that job at times, but St. Mary's has really forced them away from that.
The game for St.
As Emily
Mary's,
Rupert
number 5, Jacqueline Miles,
she's had a nice game so far, but
Anthony.
the substitution bringing in Jacqueline Miles for the Roughriders.
Well, if you're St. Mary's right now, you got to be happy with how your defense has dealt with those forwards, especially your back line and your keeper ultimately.
Riders now on the run behind Sydney Cisco. Gonna go study at Capital University when she's done at St. Mary's, and that ball, that's one down in the corner that's very interesting about where that ends up going, ultimately off
Lauren
of her,
Whitehead into the game
but it
for
really
the
gave
Redskins.
both sides that extra little second to try and do something.
And Sydney known for her skills on the basketball court, but obviously she's got some speed, and they love to use her on the wings here.
I think she's pretty much good at everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the second part of that. Just about 25 minutes left here in the first half. No score, and it is not without lack of trying because both teams have had opportunities. The shots on goal favoring Wapakoneta right now as it's stripped away from Emily Rupert.
And that's a crucial step there by the Roughriders. Otherwise, Rupert would have been on for a great potential shot.
So it's now Lauren Whitehead who was into the game in the last substitution for Wapak. Trying to send one to Nicole Richard. Richard had a good lead early on and has been one of the leading assist totals all year long for Wapak.
And you see what this does for Wapak when they draw not only the midfielders back, but sometimes the attackers have to come back to collect the ball, and it's really not giving them St. Mary's much of an advantage on when they try to counter.
Bowman kicks it away for the Roughriders near midfield as it'll be a substitution on each side. That'll bring in Macy Harshbarger, the senior forward for Wapak, and Lily Ankerman, the freshman for St. Mary's. As it's now kind of, you talked about the war of the field position so far. It's kind of going back and forth at times.
Right, but I think the possession game right now, you got to give it to Wapak, and they've been able to handle the ball. St. Mary's has had their times, but they really just haven't been able to hold on to it.
So we'll see what they can do this time around as Wapak has to come back to put one away from Tori Carter. Now on the run, here comes St. Mary's. That quick crossover for the Roughriders, but it'll end up across the touchline. And it'll go back to Wapak. A little bit of discussion about which way the girls felt that should go. As there's a substitution, we'll take a quick break here on Game Face Ohio.
Stars and Stripes Graphics is your local screen printer located just east of the St. Mary's Memorial High School. Visit our showroom for all things Rough Rider, including jackets, sweatshirts, hats, sweatpants, ball caps, and more. We also carry items for New Knoxville Rangers and select collegiate gear for Ohio State and Michigan. Stars and Stripes Graphics, your local screen printer.
Hello?
Call dropped?
Hello?
No more minutes? Lost your phone? Don't worry. Telephone service from TSC is always crystal clear. Never runs out of minutes. Never has a dead battery. And most importantly, in an emergency, it displays your address for 911. Plus, TSC keeps you connected with free calling in our expanded calling area. Ask about telephone service from TSC today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Strength is about so much more than the body. It's about being together, serving, sharing, and caring for those around us. It's about keeping score in the heart rather than on a scoreboard. Be a part of a community that builds more than your body. At the Wapakoneta Family YMCA.
Ellie Setlich, the last substitution right before the break here on Game Face Ohio for Wapakoneta. Now it comes in with 22 minutes remaining in the first half. No score, and right there off the corner of that last shot, you could see as Wapak got it ahead just how slick this field is, especially right down the left sideline. Riders now in the front, tried the give and go, and that had just played through. You gotta believe that would have had to been a hard shot for Wapak to be able to stop. This one rolls through, and it is probably Tori Carter who gets the biggest kudo for that for Wapak, because she blocked everybody else out to make sure her goalkeeper could get a clean look at it.
Well, this is the first glimpse of a great offensive chance for the Roughriders tonight. Now see if they can build off of that now that they've tasted a little bit of success down in the attacking third. They have to go back to that. The movement was right, just the last pass there at the end picked out by the defense.
Well, you wonder a little bit. We talked about how the pitch conditions could slow down a little bit, but I think that one almost, maybe a dry field, that doesn't roll as much on that lead pass. So now Wapak with it, trying to kick it back towards the center. They really want to work behind Rupert. She has it stolen away. Roughriders able to get right up to it. And you look at what both these goalkeepers have done on the year. They've had pretty successful seasons. Allie Moore with 64 saves coming into, or 3 saves. Leah Patterson with 64. 3 goalkeepers for St. Mary's this year.
And again, going back to the slickness of the field, now you can't really use that excuse as much anymore. You've been out there for 20 minutes. You understand kind of what the conditions are, how the ball is going to bounce, and if you've gotten a few touches in, now you should understand what you need to do to be able to control that ball.
Ball took an awkward bounce, and Whitehead almost handballed it. Took a bounce right in front of us here with 20 minutes remaining. Now kick down towards the touchline and out of bounds. Another St. Mary's throw-in. And what I love too is at times, obviously the strategy comes into play depending on which part of the pitch you're at about where that throw-in comes to. And that's a football tackle. Didn't think I'd see that till week 10 when these two schools play. That's a little bit early. Speaking of the Roughriders, in action here Friday night on Game Face Ohio as they take the Battle of Grand Lake to Salina. That's going to be a good one too.
Yeah, that should be an interesting one, especially based off how last year went.
Well, 2 years ago there at Salina was even a bigger one. Well, the Roughriders now on the attempt to get one up in the box is cleared back out. A nice clear by Wapak. Finds itself all the way back down to the right side. Unfortunately for the Redskins, nobody even remotely close to where Allie Moore is going to come out and play that ball.
And right now, if you're St. Mary's, maybe things haven't gone your way, but they're frustrating Wapak because the Redskins really should believe that they should be ahead in this one. 2 great saves by Moore, and the defense has cleaned up a couple passes that could have led to something more. So right now, if you're St. Mary's, you're hanging on defensively. You got to think Wapak's going to at least keep coming as they did right there.
The ball is going to go as, we can see which way that went because it really went off of both sides. Wapak getting a corner out of this. Substitutions come in
into the game.
Threes
number 22 for the Redskins,
for St. Mary's.
That'll be the second corner of the game. Both of them going to the Redskins. First one didn't go very well, but
the senior and Kylie Lau going to go study BG into the game as one of the 3 for St. Mary's. So Wapak working down from the back corner. Both same place. They've taken both of their corners. This one lofted higher than the other, was more of a line drive and sent right back out of the box by St. Mary's. Ball just sort of hanging there. A lot of red jerseys, just a couple of white able to get it away.
Again, dangerous to keep that ball in there as long as they did, as it still stays down to the attacking third.
Just off the front of the box, working Lauren Place. The senior sends it right back up to the front, maybe misplayed a little bit by Marissa Rainey. But Wapak staying on the attack as they again work back down to the line. St. Mary's doing a good job of shading it. Not really giving Wapak, there's not anywhere for them to go on that possession. They had to just try and send one back out front, and St. Mary's ultimately earns themselves a throw-in.
And again, you see what that high line for Wapak is doing, pressuring St. Mary's, making the midfielders, making the forwards get back, and it's making it kind of impossible right now for the Roughriders to try to counter like they would like to get up the wings, because everybody's got to come back and play defense. So now they need to get set back up and try to keep their forwards up there so they can get a counterattack going.
Talking about the 7-0 record for Wapak in their away games, 34-14 their average margin. The first 3 games that they played at Bowling Green, Fort Jennings, and Lima Senior, 6-8 and 7-0, and that's, they were able to play fast right out of the gate. Those teams, 3 teams don't have the best record, and teams didn't do this to them
right
early on.
And that's the thing too. If you're Wapak, you're used to scoring, and all of a sudden now you're 15 minutes away from halftime, you don't have a goal yet. It starts to put the pressure on, and you maybe start to do some things that you wouldn't normally, try to rush it instead of stay calm and use the possession game, and that's something that they've got to be wary of.
And their last 2 away games, at Salina and at Riverdale, those are their 2 closest games on the road, 2-1 and 3-2. So maybe now, despite the fact they're 15-0, we talked about, maybe teams are able to start slowing it down with the weather a little bit and the field conditions.
And yeah, again, that is a big factor, obviously, that comes into play. But I think another thing is how big of a rivalry this is between these 2 teams as well. That you talk about throwing the records out. That's not just in football and basketball. It applies in soccer as well.
Speaking of things going out, that ball way across the touchline. It'll be a throw in here for Wapak. So I'll drop it as we get closer to 15 minutes.
So, I mean, that's just the biggest thing right now for the Redskins. You still have to keep playing your brand of soccer, as St. Mary's is just trying to counter here. Great opportunity.
Here they go now on the run, but that's just that 2 on it. Wow. Didn't think that was going to be cleared that way.
And it's still not getting all the way out.
Emma Kentner had a quick second, but she maybe turned the wrong way when she tried to foot that one up across. Roughriders stay in the attacking third, now working from the left side. Try to foot one back across, but Wapak there to get it away. And that's pretty much been their story. When St. Mary's has gone on their runs, it's been down the left or down the right side. Anytime that they've tried to go to the center, Wapak has pretty much been able to come up and clear one away with a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2.
The biggest thing is right now is the difference about how these 2 teams are handling the ball once they get down into the opposing box. And right now, Wapak, credit them, they've been able to at least keep possession, move the ball around in the attacking third. For St. Mary's, they're getting it down there, but they're losing it just as quickly, and they really got to build something up. I mean, right now the control for the offense isn't there as far as making those passes. They're getting a little nervous here in the final third, and it's leading to a lot of turnovers.
And the substitution for the Redskins will send out Ellie Sedlich, who came in the last time around. Katie Monger had a couple of opportunities early on in this game. Let's say the first 5 minutes back into the game there with the ball. She'll kick it up off of Maddie Lousy, who came in with her. Those 2 went out together, came right back in. Now with 14 minutes to go in the first half. Working hard, Emily Rupert. Rupert has worked almost exclusively from the left corner, sends one back in, and the bump in the box.
And they gave it.
Wapak in their last game did have a penalty kick against Riverdale, but it was Riverdale who actually scored on the penalty kick. And now the big opportunity here will come from the right foot of Katie Monger.
Monger not only drawing the penalty, but now getting a chance to try to put it away.
So you see both sides ready. Here comes penalty kick for Monger. She will go bottom left, and it's a 1-0 Wapak lead.
Now Moore guessed the right way. She just couldn't get to the ground quick enough, as that was a pretty good spot for Monger to put it.
So 1-0 in favor of Wapak.
Redskin goal by Katie Monger.
And again, you've kind of felt that coming on here in the last 15, 20 minutes or so, the offense of Wapak pushing up, really enforcing their will on the St. Mary's defense, and they got it by way of penalty at the end.
Now to bring back in Alex DeBell for Wapak. Again, they sit with 24 points in the WBL at the top. St. Mary's 5th with 12. It's 8-0 against 4-4, and Wapak in their 19-year history picking up their first WBL title. And that's, you look at how that penalty kick sets up, obviously, just kind of a lot of bad luck. You've been playing that way. It's been a physical game so far. You just get caught with it a couple of yards the wrong way.
Well, when you're able to get the ball down there as much as this Wapak offense has, you're going to have good things happen. And, I mean, they just kept getting the ball down there time and time again, and they finally pay off. But that's a big goal for the confidence of the Redskins. Now that they have the goal, they can try to get more and not be as pressured to do so with the one-score lead. And on the other end of that, if you're St. Mary's right now, you've got to keep the pressure up on the wings because this defense won't be able to hold forever. And it only takes one advantage, one attempt to get in there and tie this one up.
That's what, and you look at it the other way around too, is another one that rolls for St. Mary's is just not letting these things mount. You talked about it a little bit, you make one mistake but not having it turn in to 5 or 6. And it's just, that's what Wapak has done to people this year. Is all right, you made one mistake, now all of a sudden you're thinking about how not to have that happen again, and all of a sudden, boom, it's 3-0. Redskins with 12 minutes now and a 1-goal lead here before the half. St. Mary's trying to keep it from swelling and maybe try to add one themselves as Rupert goes down into the back corner, flips one back up all the way across. It'll kind of roll softly back towards the corner. Riders able to clear it out, and it'll be a throw-in coming up.
And to your point, Mike, that's what the best teams do. They get the first goal, and then they taste more, and they just keep attacking and attacking until they break you down. And I guess to use it in the sense that you would understand as far as when it comes to football, it's like a lot like that St. Mary's offense. They're just going to keep running the ball until the defense gets tired.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they're going to run it some more. And that's, again, it's going to be on display here Friday night here on Game Face Ohio, and that's a matchup. I know we're doing that one on the radio too, and I'm really looking forward to it because obviously not only with the rivalry, but should probably play the 50-50. Just saying. It's probably going to be pretty good. A lot of things going on around that, but more soccer Wednesday. We get or Thursday rather. We get the reverse of this rivalry in Wapak with the boys. And I think that one's going to be a lot of the same way too, because I talked to both coaches a little bit, and they kind of give this, all right, we're ready for the tournament. We really need this as a tune-up.
Yeah, and, you know, especially after how last year's matchup between those two went. And this is a St. Mary's boys program that's been dominant for years in the Western Buckeye League. And it's a Wapak team that's really come up over the past few years as well, as they're really two teams that you don't want to mess with when it comes to WBL play.
Yeah, I got to see the boys last week, and they tied Ottawa Glandorf, and the coach talked about, he said that was a heartbreaking thing that the Titans scored with 19 seconds remaining. Now the other way, wow. Nice long kick for Wapak. Couple of substitutions as well. Come back in for the Redskins and Drew Peachy. St. Mary's counters with their own.
And you're starting to see right now, Mike, as this Wapak team gets more and more confident with that goal, what it's doing for their offense and their build-up play, and really just overall for the team. And their passes are nice, crisp, and clean right now. And if you're St. Mary's, you can't let that get to you. It's only 1 goal differential right now. Again, it just takes one breakthrough, one pass, and you could see it here.
So it's stopped, though, right by Wapak. Now as we go under double-digit minutes left in this first half.
And that's the beauty of this game, too. I mean, the fact that you could have 90% of the possession, more shots, more opportunities, but it only takes one.
And it's not as if St. Mary's has not been knocking on that door. Like we said, we talked about it a little bit ago in the keys to the game about how controlling the possession in this game was going to be a big thing. And I'd say it's pretty much even when you go back and you break it down. I'd say it's probably pretty close to 50-50 because each team has had moments where they've gone on long runs.
Well, and one thing we're seeing or I should say not seen tonight, that you normally see in high school contests is there's not much congestion in the midfield. Both teams doing a good job of getting it out wide, and when they do get it into the midfield, they just feed it forward. And it's making for some entertaining soccer at the moment.
Roughriders trying to change exactly what you're thinking. Pop all the way back out. Goaltender has to come out to play it. And that's, there you go. I feel like right now that's your difference between your grass bounce and your turf bounce. If that's a turf one, maybe you don't necessarily come out and play that. You wait and see how that goes with two attackers rushing up at you.
Dangerous clearance.
Great job by St. Mary's, though, to be able to make sure that, at least for the moment, it doesn't do anything extra.
And what that does is help your defense get back and set right back up, as it was an advantage for the moment for the Redskins, but the defense able to set back up.
Jacqueline Mines with that long clearance. Substitution now for Wapak. We'll bring back in Abby Rupert, the junior. Wapak will throw it in from the left. St. Mary's, though, able to come right back up, and that's something, too, where Wapak has pretty much just quick dropped all of their throw-ins so far, and I think it's something St. Mary's has figured out. All right, we'll wait. Send one up, send one attacker up, and we'll come away with that.
Yeah, and now if you're St. Mary's, you got to keep the pressure up high. You got to get bodies right now on some of those red shirts to keep that ball down there and keep the pressure on.
Emma Kentner with the lob, and exactly right what I was saying. St. Mary's turned that quick defense into an offensive opportunity. Knuckleball sent right back up, though. That one had no movement to it whatsoever. Riders trying to make this clearance turn into a mistake, but there's your middle you were just talking about. As soon as that ball went up into the air, off a left foot for St. Mary's, it ends up being 3 players turn right towards it for Wapak and come up with it. Now across the touchline for a St. Mary's throw-in with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. Wapak getting the lone goal about 7 minutes ago on a penalty kick.
Well, now we're starting to see St. Mary's possess the ball a little bit more in that attacking third. It's a good sign. Now you got 6 minutes, about 6 minutes to try to do something here before the end of the half.
Lights are on bright. Great crowd here tonight as well. The Redskins, I said, finish up their regular season. St. Mary's has got a game with Bellefontaine in a couple of days before each team heads into the tournament.
I mean, what do you expect? It's Wapak St. Mary's. I think they'd have a great crowd even for bowling.
I think you could play checkers. Like have one person from each town play checkers somewhere, and you'd probably draw 100 people.
Yeah. See what the 50-50 would do for that one.
Oh yeah, it'd probably be good. I'd show up for that. Just to watch two guys play checkers. That might be the next thing we venture to on Game Face Ohio. I don't think Todd's going to let us do it. So now just outside of 5 minutes. And Wapak, I feel like it's slowed down a little bit. They get that goal, and like you talked about, you can kind of change your strategy too with as fast as St. Mary's offense has been at times turning it in just like this. Bowman off the back heel now gets her run ready. They're trying not to make that mistake, and I feel like since that goal, maybe playing a little tight.
Again, just can't get that final pass in the final third. Now opportunity to swing it out wide here and possibly send it across.
Bowman sends one back into the front of the box. Took a quick bounce, and Wapak able to clear it right back out.
Oh, nice move.
Now trying to reverse themselves as they go 3-on-4. Over to the left side. Sent back looking for the right foot of Abby Rupert.
Dangerous clearance once again.
Ruffer is able to clear it. Wapak fans on the other side didn't actually seem to believe that, because I could hear some groans from the opposite side. Well, back to St. Mary's.
And going back to what you were talking about, Mike, with Wapak slowing it down, that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because that allows them to set up and just kind of work the ball around, keep possession, and that really can frustrate the St. Mary's team. If they're not getting possession of the ball, it's hard to do anything, obviously.
4 substitutions back into the game as we hit the final 4 minutes of the first half. 3 of those coming up for St. Mary's, who has subbed with multiples. Wapak's only had twice, I believe, where of the 6 or 7 times that they've subbed, that they haven't gone 1 for 1. So McClure trying to clear it back out and get the Redskins offense in motion. St. Mary's trying to get that roll. Now they'll get one back down to the left side. Off the front of the box, it just sort of hung there for a split second. St. Mary's doing a good job of fighting to get themselves extra opportunities.
Oh, good ball, good move. That's a foul for sure. That'll set up a nice free kick opportunity for the Roughriders. We'll see what they can do here.
Interestingly enough, it's Monger who got shoved in the box to get the penalty kick to set up the goal. I mean, you can see as Bowman goes away, it's not really hard to call. Just reached out, kind of tripped her up and shoved her to the ground.
Definitely too far out for a shot, as they're going to ask for 10. Those defenders do look a little bit closer, but yeah, they'll move them back a bit. But this, if you can get a group of Roughriders, place that ball in the right spot, just takes one deflection, and it could be all tied up.
So Will put a shot into it off the front of the box, and it went right into. It wasn't that much longer for a shot. Came up in front of the left side just to make the stop.
Well, no real trouble for Rainey there, as she just had to come out and collect it very easily. Not quite what the Roughriders were looking for.
15 games this year, she stopped 25 shots. There have not been a ton of shots against her this year. The goals against average for Wapak, 0.47 in all of their games. They are 0.57 on the road. They've actually given up more goals on the road than they have at home, 4-3. So 7 on the year. I'd say that's a pretty good number.
And that's why they're 15-0.
Yeah, there's a good reason. That and because they have 71 goals.
That too.
That's a pretty good number. Now with a minute 54, St. Mary's, wow. Just if that comes down about half a foot, you're going to make an interesting case about whether that's going to hit the crossbar or whether it's going to be a 1-1 game.
Yeah, you're not mad with that attempt either. You really struggled to get any shot on goal in this one so far, and if you can find any glimpse of space near the box, you need to let it rip and hope something happens, and that was just a few feet off.
So a left-footed long, kind of a long straight drive for Wapak as the wind blows from their backs up towards the middle of the pitch. Didn't really go anywhere. So now down to a minute 10 in the first half. Bowman, hand in her back the whole time that she's trying to play that ball. Ends up knocked away from her and set back up momentarily for St. Mary's. Knocked away by Sedlich for Wapak. And the ball across the touchline gives the Roughriders a throw in under a minute left now in the first half. Down the left sideline, good numbers for St. Mary's. They've got a 3-on-5 as they run back towards the middle of the goal, and that is going to probably deject some Roughrider fans. That was their second best lead here in about the last minute.
Yeah, best opportunity of the night so far, I would say, for the Roughriders, as they got it into the box, perfect cross, just couldn't execute on the finish.
Final 30 seconds of the first half here at St. Mary's. Wapak clinging that 1-0 lead. That goal coming at the 13-minute mark left in the first half.
But if you're the Roughriders, these last 5 minutes have been some of the best soccer they've played tonight.
That ball hit so high on the ricochet that it probably almost ended up in our truck. Todd just confirmed to me in the truck that it almost ended up in the open door. So that'll do it for the first half. St. Mary's trails 1-0, a lone goal in the first half coming at the 13:38 mark by Katie Munger to make it 1-0 Wapak here at the half on Game Face Ohio.
TSC can save you money.
How?
TSC can save you money with Emerge.
What's Emerge?
The Emerge bundle plan. TSC will merge your phone, cable TV, and internet in one nice, neat package to save you money.
How much money?
A boatload. The Emerge bundle plan only from TSC.
TSC, give us a call and see. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
When you see an orange truck, you think G.A. Windsor & Son Company. But the next time you see an orange G.A. Windsor & Son truck, we want you to think green. Why green? Because G.A. Windsor & Son are the original recyclers. Using a modern fleet of trucks, G.A. Windsor & Son Company collects food co-products from restaurants, food retailers, and food manufacturers in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Kentucky. These food co-products are used to manufacture quality livestock and pet care feed ingredients. So the next time you see an orange G.A. Windsor & Son truck, think green.
Dr. Compton has been delivering quality chiropractic care for nearly 20 years. He's committed to helping you find relief as quick as possible so there's no lengthy care plans. At Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, most insurances are accepted and walk-ins are always welcome. Conveniently located in downtown St. Mary's across from Chase Bank. To learn more, visit us online at smpainrelief.com and follow us on social media.
It's the name that you want to remember. Neck and Back Pain Relief Center.
Hello, Frost Roofing.
Frost Roofing holds the same core values our company was founded upon nearly 9 decades ago. We proudly provide quality craftsmanship and top-notch service to each client we serve. We're licensed by several major roofing manufacturers to give you the right recommendations at the best value for your investment. With state-of-the-art equipment, cutting-edge technology, and our honest way of doing business, Frost Roofing is our area's preferred commercial roofing experts. To learn more, visit frost-roofing.com or call 419-739-ROOF.
Throw in here for St. Mary's. A couple of interesting plays there momentarily. Roughriders almost gave up the goal, but able to stave one off. Wapak continues. They get the throw in after some discussion about which way that was going to go on the opposite side. See what St. Mary's can do now here as they get a little bit of a reprieve the first 3 minutes in the first half.
Mike, I tell you what, the way that St. Mary's ended that last 10 minutes of the first half has to be a confidence builder coming into the start of the second. If they can keep that pressure up, it'll help their offense
First couple of minutes now as St. Mary's goes here in the second half. Left to right, they change ends and they're looking for their first shot, but that didn't exactly work out how they had planned. Kind of running into not only the ball and a couple of Wapak players in the front half of the box. Now they'll work from just in front of their own corner off to our right side. And they'll get a throw in.
And again, it's just right now for St. Mary's, it's trying to keep that pressure on Wapak, moving them forward and just really pushing that defensive line back and not allow them to play a high line like they were in the first half.
You see the wind blowing back towards the corner, maybe played a little bit of an effect on where that ball was going to go. Here's the
what
turn
a shot
off the outside of the goal. That's a beautiful design, but it just didn't maybe turn as much as it needed to.
That's great invention to put that one off on kind of a half bicycle turnaround and just barely missing the inside of the sticks.
That would have been huge because it's 1-0 Wapak right now, and it could have, a couple of minutes ago you saw here to open the second half, could have been a 2-0 game. St. Mary's makes a choice to come out and play one, and luckily the defenders are able to slow that ball down just enough to keep it from being a 2-0 game.
And here's where Wapak's going to try and get that counterattack going.
Monger now, the only goal of the game so far, back down in the corner, clears one, shoots one right in front of an oncoming Redskin, but St. Mary's able to thwart that one away.
And now you're starting to see both teams took almost the whole first half. They're finding their rhythm offensively. The ball's starting to move a little bit better, and we're seeing some great chances out of both teams.
So now fighting for the ball down near the touchline off to the right side.
This is what you want to see too, not only in high school sports, but with these two rivals right now. It's just chance after chance, and really this could become an open-ended game here.
Wapak comes in 5th ranked in the state of Ohio at 15-0. They wrapped up the WBL last week with a win. That coming on a 3-0 win over Ottawa Glandorf on October the 4th. Just Defiance, Kenton, and Van Wert, the only teams without WBL girls soccer titles in 19 years.
That's not surprising. Most of those programs haven't had the girls soccer program for quite a long time. I know Van Wert's only been around for 7 years now.
Well, and it's also interesting to me as you look at that, as St. Mary's tries to get on the attack again, that it's a lot of the same teams up on the top. You know, you get Bath, you get OG, now Wapak up on the top. This year, Wapak, Elida, Shawnee, Bath, St. Mary's 1 through 5 in the WBL.
Well, and that's where we talk about the difference then between the girls and the boys, because on the boys side of things, yes, St. Mary's has been dominant over the past few years, but it was Salina last year that really, with a deep team, a lot of seniors, made that great run into the playoffs, and they're struggling a little bit this year with all the losses. But you know, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with, as is the Wapak boys, who really have built their program up over the past few years.
Again, 10-4 on the year. They're 5-2-1. Are the Wapakoneta Redskins boys in the WBL. We'll see them on Thursday night here in Game Face, Ohio, over at home as they take on St. Mary's. That last shot for St. Mary's just missed a little bit wide right one time, missed a little left this time around. You get a feeling they're going to get one here on goal here before long.
Well, it would be something they need badly right now. They've got about 5 shots in total, only one of them on goal at the moment through this contest.
Got a lot of leads off in the front of the box. This one, they get further down, tried to skip one back across, and it didn't work out how they had tried. You talked about cleaning up the middle early on in the first half. Wapak, seemingly, anytime that St. Mary's has tried to play in the front of the box near the middle, 3 Redskins there every time.
And what Wapak's trying to do right now that St. Mary's has got their attacking game going, they're putting numbers forward, Wapak's leaving those 2-3 attackers up front to try to get a counterattack going if they can catch St. Mary's out.
Smart move near the goal line for Wapak not to let that roll across, because it wasn't a real big St. Mary's attack, and you really don't want to give the Roughriders a corner kick there. They haven't had one yet.
Now only 2 in the contest, and they've both gone to Wapak.
Riders trying to steal it away, down 3 players to 1 in that scenario, and a a pretty physical game, I would say, so far.
Well, and that's the thing you see more and more of, especially when you've got two rivals. You're going to get shoulder-to-shoulder contact. It's just how much are the officials going to let them play? And what people don't realize a lot of times in soccer is it's a very physical game. I mean, up there with football, that's a sport that gets some of the most concussions out of their players. And really, it's all about how you manage yourself out there on the field and how the players just know where to be, how to position themselves. It's the same way in football as well, teaching how they teach players to hit hard, and tackles need to be more clean. You learn the same with how you head the ball and kind of how you move around out there with soccer.
And again, we talked about not so much right now, but early on in this contest, it was sprinkling, and that was causing a couple of players to lose their footing. Right now, though, it's a much bigger thing, and that's the fact that they've chewed this pitch up, running back and forth through the lanes.
Well, and especially right now, the goalie's box is getting some work, so on both sides of the field.
Now another ball that can't be turned for St. Mary's, and 30 minutes left, down 1-0. How many of those do you get to the point where you start to wonder, am I going to get one of those that's going to turn how I intend?
Well, and you go back and look at the first half in Walpock and how much pressure they put, and they were constantly down in that attacking third, putting pressure on the defense. And now the tables have turned just a little bit here in the second half. So if you're St. Mary's, you can keep this up. Good things will come to you.
St. Mary's, I think, is doing a good job right now as well of being able to turn their midfield and their defense immediately into offense.
And one thing I'm impressed with right now is how they haven't let that first goal deflate them, maybe for the first 5 minutes or so afterwards, but they were able to withhold that initial surge forward, and now they've got to try to defend this one.
Rupert on the run as we go under 30 minutes left in the contest. So Wapak will set up even deeper, and you get a quick second not only to make a couple substitutions, but also to catch your breath with as quick as Rupert went from one side to the other.
So that's the beauty of high school soccer as well, the substitutions. As much as you need, as many as you need, as where in the professional game and even a little bit in soccer, it's a little bit more of a limited amount, especially in college, where once you're subbed out for the half, you can't come back in.
Morgan Fallon will set it down with the right foot. Lofts one back up towards the middle of the box, and Roughriders headed back out. At least for the moment, nothing harm-wise done as they try to put more white jerseys down there than the red. Ultimately, though, I believe it's going to be a throw-in for Wapak.
No, they'll change it back again.
Sorry, the post, when I went to transition from left to right, kind of stopped, and I took a guess.
A host of new players for both teams.
Substitutions on both sides. Cami Lenhart, the sophomore, one of the three in, along with Macy Harshbarger for Wapak. Matt Anthony as well. And Tammy Dowse into the game for St. Mary's. So it'll be St. Mary's who will throw it in with 28-20. And down 1-0 here in the second half. Roughriders trying to work straight down the line.
That one stayed in, so having to clear it.
Not quite sure how.
Yeah, they wanted to just let it ride, but
started back towards the parking lot.
Dangerously into the box.
But now about 5-3 in that box. The advantage for Wapak. Ultimately results in another throw-in for the Roughriders. No corners so far. Had a couple of balls that have played down near the corner, but it is just turned back towards the touchline.
Now you see those players for St. Mary's starting to go forward. Just one center back waiting back at midfield. Watch out for the counter if Walpock can get this one to squirt out.
Nice throw, but knocked away by Katie Monger for Wapak.
There you go, last line of defense stepping up at the moment.
She pretty much came through 3 or 4 different players, too, to be able to get to that point. And she had the big leg to clear it out.
Now what that'll do is it'll get the rest of your team back to start defending, get numbers on your side.
Ellie Setlich up off of her foot, and now a throw-in.
As a defender, when you get that initial call from your coach to go forward on a corner or on a throw-in close, your eyes get big, you start to go up there, but you got to remember, you got to hustle back as soon as that ball comes outside the box. And
you get that moment of, uh-oh.
Yeah, well, great job by the St. Mary's defense to recover there.
Now Wapak kind of playing pitch catch right through with Monger again. Shoots another one up front, right into players on each side.
Nice ball.
St. Mary's trying to clear one back out, but this is going to have to be decision time again.
Still free
for them. And the Roughriders able to now get to it.
What a step to get in and shoulder the opponent away.
So now St. Mary's trying to go on their own offensive advantage. I talked about they've got one game left in the regular season before they get Salina here in tournament play. Beat Salina earlier on in the year here. That coming on September the 28th in a 1-0 game. Winner of that one goes to play at Bath. Yeah, Bath being the 4 seed, St. Mary's and Salina being the 6 and 7 respectively. And speaking of that, here comes a run from Rupert. Sends one back across, and it just did not come where she thought. Wanted to drop it for Morgan Fallon in the front of the box, but it just went too far, and St. Mary's able to recover and kick one across.
Great build-up by the Redskins, getting it forward. Unfortunately, no one in the center of the box to receive that cross, and fortunately for the Roughriders, it fell out harmlessly.
So now ball dropped. Look at how soft that played off the front half. Ball is going to be across the goal line and back to St. Mary's. Best case scenario there. As the substitution comes up on both sides. Will the anchorman, the freshman, in for St. Mary's. Drew Peachy, the junior, for Wapak.
And again, right now, if you're St. Mary's, it's still only obviously the 1-goal lead, and your offenses look good at times. Now you got to deal with this attack of Wapak, who was kind of dormant for the first few minutes of the second half. Here they come again.
Just a quick bounce on the one shot for Drew Peachy. So St. Mary's making a switch of their goalkeepers at the half as well. How much right now does that work as far as defensively?
Well, I mean, you've got a different voice back there. The goalie is obviously the quarterback of this team. They can see everything. They know where the positioning needs to be. Now it's what type of relationship do you have with your back line to call out, let them know where they need to be, what their responsibilities are. But as far as coming in for the second half, it really is just about getting that first few attempts, which she's already gotten, and now she should be able to calm her nerves. And, you know, you've done this before. You're a good way through the season. At this point, right now, it's just like clockwork once you get out there.
We talked about, I mistakenly read the stats backwards earlier on. Patterson with 64 of the 74 saves on the year for St. Mary's coming into today. She played once in the field in the first half, and then Allie Moore was back in goal. She stopped, I believe you said 4 out of 5. The one she was not able to get to came on a penalty kick with about 13 minutes left in the first half. So she's been under fire twice already. Had to take one that was a quick bounce.
That was the wrong move there, but fortunately they get it to clear. You never, as a defender, want to bring that ball back into the middle. It's always when you're pressured up and out, or get it outside and clear it out of bounds, because if you bring that back into the middle, your defender's on your back. They're already set up for a nice shot. So fortunately for the Roughriders, that could have been 2-0 easily.
Maddie Lousy in for Wapak as the ball rolls back into the corner, and ultimately, I believe that was going to be out before it even got even remotely close to the goal. So goal kick coming up for the Roughriders at 22:35.
Both teams now, after first 15 minutes or so of back and forth attacking attempts, have kind of slowed down a little bit. If anything, it's favored Wapak here in the last 5 minutes or so. St. Mary's needs to get their attack going again. Here's a good opportunity.
See what St. Mary's came up with. They had enough players, obviously. They had 3 against 1, and were able to momentarily at least get it right back out. But it seems like, if you're Wapak right now, that Emily Rupert is like a magnet with that ball. Seems to find her left foot constantly.
Great job by her not to go down that easily in the box.
That one made me a little nervous.
Yeah, just a bit. But right now, if you're the Redskins, the biggest thing is the best way that you can play defense is by playing offense here and just keep pushing forward on that line and making St. Mary's sit back and defend you. Don't give them much of anything going forward. And on the other end of that, if you're the Roughriders, you got to find a way to try to counterattack on this.
The lead for Lauren Whitehead. Ultimately, by the way, that last setup, Cammie Lenhart, terrific idea and great execution for Wapak. That ball came off the goalkeeper's foot in Patterson out towards the middle of the pitch, and she just right off the toe put it right back in play for Wapak.
Those are the dangerous ones. As if you're a keeper, you're looking around for your defense because they need to cover you on those and get to a body.
Rust White and Guerin all in for St. Mary's on the substitutions.
Yep, that's a foul. Oh, so they're going to give that
discussion.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
Below the press box. Give it about a 6 on a takedown, though.
Well, Cisco battling hard. She had a nice turn move to get away from her defender.
It'll play out for St. Mary's. You see the clock there with just outside of 20 minutes left here in half two, and it's been 1-0 Wapak for quite a while. It could have, you can make a case, like a little bit Eli touched on, it could be completely different scores, different ways with the opportunities each team has had. And a substitution. We'll take a break and come back here on Game Face Ohio.
Where is that TSC bill? How can I pay it if I can't find it?
You don't need the bill. You can pay it online at telcirco.com.
Wasn't there a special this month?
Yes, we got it from TSC's Facebook page.
I know I've got the announcement for the club here somewhere.
I just sent it to TSC to air on Channel 2. With telcirco.com, Facebook, Channel 2, and their newsletter, TSC makes it easy to stay connected.
Now, if they could just help me clean up my desk.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Casa Chic in Wapakoneta has what you need for game night. Cheer for our Redskins in sweatshirts, sweaters, handcrafted scarves, hats, and gloves. Casa Chic has a variety of vendors, each with a unique style of their own. From handcrafted pottery to knit items to an eclectic blend of home and garden decor to new and refurbished furniture for any room in your home. Come see what Casa Chic has for you. IC Signs designs, creates, and installs custom eye-catching signs. We use state-of-the-art technology to produce indoor and outdoor signs, LED message boards, and vehicle wraps. We can also help you with LED light conversion, sign refurbishing, custom t-shirts, promotional items, and your print needs. Whether you know what you want or have no idea, trust the experience of IC Signs. Call IC Signs at 419-738-6640.
Owen Kitchen and Bath Showroom has been family owned and operated since 1990. We can help you from start to finish with your entire project. Let one of our professional designers put the final touches on your project. Owen Kitchen and Bath now has 2 showrooms to better serve you in Wapakoneta and Lima. Owen Kitchen and Bath, cabinetry that will take your breath away at prices that won't.
Abby McClure, the substitution for Wapak, will throw it in from the right side as the Redskins lead 1-0. Hirn and Eli Alvarez. And it is a big night. It's a great night. It turned into a beautiful night. Didn't start out that way.
Yeah, senior night for the Roughriders, only trailing by 1 against the undefeated Redskins. And they've had their chances to try to tie this one up.
I think maybe that one would have been as well. Now just trying to turn and I believe try to find a friend.
You love to see all this physical play right now to both teams. Great opportunity.
Roughriders, though, just
still alive
by Kettner. Now in front of the goal, and it's amazing how those balls are just stopping on that soft back line. I was going to make a comment about how you needed more cowbells. I heard one.
Need to call your friends from the Mafia.
I was thinking that too. I was wondering if Cowbell Mafia was over there. So now the ball is playing perfect for St. Mary's, but you got to take that one quick shot if you're St. Mary's when you get it, and off that bounce is not necessarily the look that you want.
No, but again, it's just right now you have to take what this defense is giving you if you're Walpock, as it's really been a physical contest here in the second half. As these Roughriders know, again, all they need is just one opportunity to get a shot on goal, and they can be right back in it.
The big leg of Katie Monger back into the game for Wapak. That has played such a big part in their clearances so far. She's had, I believe it's about three or four that she has kicked that all the way out from the box, and it really has turned a St. Mary's scoring opportunity quickly into a deficit for them of having to hurry back defensively.
And they almost had another great one there, and really what it's going to come down to is what's the decision going to be when you get down to the last 10 minutes? Are you going to put those extra bodies forward to try to go on the attack, or are you just going to try to play the way you've been playing all night and hope something comes of it?
Roughriders will throw from deep down in the right corner. Nice throw back towards the side of the box, takes a Wapakoneta bounce, and then it's kicked right back out where they try to get it up on a lead. Nice little piece of footwork for Abby Rupert, who came in on the last substitution. She could look at the Roughriders hustling with 17:25 to try and steal that throw in. Wapak will take it back the opposite way. The ball seemed to have moved pretty quickly.
Well, if you can play fast-paced, sometimes you can fool the officials into thinking that a throw is yours, or you can get extra positioning.
Well, we saw that earlier in this half, too, when players were trying to get to it as a ball all the way down to the back corner. One player from each side now giving chase. St. Mary's wins, but they're stuck on a 2 on about 6 here as they try to get something. And these balls, you can see it. There's not a heavy wind. It was about 5 miles an hour when we started, but it seems like a lot of balls are sailing right now.
Right here is a great position for St. Mary's. If you've got that play set up to get in across, you can treat it almost like a corner kick if you get bodies into the box, but you got to get the throw in, and you've got to get some space to cross it in.
St. Mary's now will try and head one into the box. They'll try that quick one-timer. Wow. And that ball, that took a wicked last hop. And that it's almost a 1-1 game.
Yeah, I tell you what, right now, the Walpock faithful are brushing away some sweat because that one looked to me like it was destined for the back of the net. Great job on the save.
I'd imagine there were a lot of people holding their breath both ways. Talked about the wind. It's listed right now as 7 miles an hour out of the northeast. Hasn't been in big effect, but St. Mary's, you got a feeling here they're going to get one here before long, or at least another long lead, and there you go, right on point.
Another great attempt, and after having only one save in the first half, that's 2 now that Walpock has had to come up with.
In about 15 seconds.
Exactly. And it's really now 3 shots on goal for the Roughriders.
Lead now back again, just takes a roll and keeps on going. Substitutions on each side, a pair for the Roughriders and a solo in Emily Rupert for the Redskins. Alyssa Alexander and Kylie Louth, the junior and the senior, into the lineup.
So, Mike, this is another factor that comes into play with 15 minutes to go and how physical the game has been, not only, you know, physically obviously, but mentally as well, with what's at stake for both teams in the rivalry. And you got to guess there's going to be some tired legs out there on both ends, and it's going to be who can keep playing and not make the most mistakes here at the end, because once those legs start to get tired, you tend to see some errant passes, maybe some sloppy defense.
Or a ball that comes off your foot wrong and you almost own goal it, as we've seen a couple of times. That has almost happened. That last possession for St. Mary's, by the way, Madison Rust kind of got caught in a position where it was, all right, I'm not going to be able to get this one to anybody on any kind of lead. She took a deep shot herself, and like you said, make a mistake on that bounce. It's a 1-1 game. Substitution now for Wapak. Bring in Morgan Fallon again. She will replace Maddie Lousy, who, like you said, you see her face as she was running off right below us. She is exhausted and is maybe with the bright cleats.
Well, she's done a lot for that team in red out there tonight, and she's well deserving of a rest, as that one was almost dangerously dealt with.
Yeah, I talked about Emily Rupert earlier. This time around it was Abby Rupert, that you just, right wherever the ball's at, she has been there the last 5 or 6 minutes. So So down to 13.5 in Wapak's regular season, as they will start their tournament play against Van Wert on the 21st at home. They'll await the winner of that day's game between Bath and the winner of the St. Mary's Salina game. That game by itself will be here to start tournament play.
Good ball.
Another stop that Patterson able to run through and pick it up.
And again, that could possibly set up another meeting between these two on the 24th if St. Mary's can win their next two tournament games and Wapak can get past Van Wert.
See how that plays out. Coach Seth got his record to 500 in wins yesterday with a 3-0 win over Fort Jennings. It's a Jennings squad I've seen a couple of times this year that themselves kind of struggling on their own clearances, and St. Mary's really took it to them early on.
Remember, no football for Fort Jennings, so that boys program's usually pretty good.
Well, the problem with that team, just a quick aside, is that they don't have a lot of defense. So their goalkeeper, who's tremendous between the pipes, he's taken a lot of shots, and that has led to them being in the bottom half of the PCL. But, you know, either way, you got to get it done in all facets, and that's what these two teams have done so far tonight. Just the one miscue for St. Mary's, the foul inside the box leading to the penalty kick, and the one goal.
And really, there was no question about it. Looked like an easy call for a penalty, but if you're St. Mary's and this ends up staying at 1-0, you look back at that and think, what if? Because this could very easily still be 0-0, but at the same time, you could argue that there could be multiple goals for both teams as well.
Ball kicked out across the touchline now with 11:45 remaining in the second half.
This is where that sense of urgency needs to creep in. If you're the Roughriders, you don't necessarily need to throw everybody forward, but you need to start stringing some passes together and get up there. And if you're Wapak, you don't necessarily need to park the bus either. Just keep doing what you're doing and try to pressure this St. Mary's defense.
Well, and that was going to be my question for you too, was at what point, if you're Wapak, you go from, all right, we're going to keep attacking as they're doing right now behind both Ruperts, of maybe do they ever slow down at all? Maybe the last 30 seconds try and play keep away?
Well, what we're seeing right now looks like they're pretty content with moving that forward for good reason.
Had a lot of room to her left. For whatever reason, chose to stop and come back. She takes about 10 seconds off the clock, and maybe that later on. There's your 10 seconds, 5 here, 5 there.
Well, this is what you want to do if you're Wapak. Get it to that back line, pass it around, spread out the St. Mary's team right now, and just try to keep hold of this ball.
Back up towards the center. A lot of red jerseys on the right side.
And the biggest thing, and it's a coaching thing when it comes down to the last few minutes of a game, if you got the lead, how you want to handle it. Some coaches will opt to put that extra defender back there, maybe call forward back. But sometimes that can be confusing, especially if you've never worked on it before or never played that way before.
Monger with a long shot, misses high and right. That was a good lead for her. See which, it was Abby Rupert who, instead of trying to play in front, sent one back. And it's, you've got that kind of leg, that's your opportunity to show it off.
Yeah, that was a heck of a shot from that distance, but who knows? Every once in a while it catches the right spot on your foot and maybe takes that turn or bend, but this time it didn't.
Tried to be that Tristan Meyer for the football team the last couple of years.
I'll tell you what, I've seen shots from farther out go in before.
I saw a shot from 40 yards out earlier this year go in. It was the weirdest thing. Took one hop and just went straight in. Wapak with 9.5 minutes now in this contest, trying to pick up win 16 on the year. Roughriders trying to get to 500 at 7-7-1. Or at the least right now, get back to even with 9 minutes to go. Now the line drive, you can see where Wapak seems content at this point. Obviously, it plays to their advantage of letting St. Mary's take the extra 5 or 10 seconds to get it across, as there's one way into the box. Just ends up being too long for the Riders to get to. But that's only 2 players across the midfield line. Everybody else waiting back as Munger takes a tumble.
And you'll see that change here. They'll go forward on this kick. They'll try to push everybody forward, except for maybe 1 or 2 defenders, because that's going to pull St. Mary's forward as well. Less chance of them to try to go back on a counter.
Foot from Torrey Carter, the junior for Wapak, in play now with 8.5 minutes remaining, and it's just that one goal by Monger that has stood up so far as both players try to poke this out. The officials will come up and...
Well, and I'll say this, for as physical of a game as it's been in this second half, I think the officials have done a okay job to this point of really letting them play. But that was one you had to call.
Not if you're sitting across the way wearing the blue, white, and gold.
Well, you had to blow the whistle either way. It just depends on which way you're pointing.
So half the people are going to be angry with Eli. So now Monger, look at the attention that she's able to draw there with being able to show off the leg. And what's impressed me about her is her decision making so far.
Well, and it's that turn in the midfield, and she's doing a great job of when that's coming to her, just using her body to shield off defenders as we see another foul.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty obvious, as so did the folks with the cowbell. Bowman across the way. I think she turned around and pointed right where that was at and said, yeah, you saw that one too, right? Trying to work it up to the front of the box. St. Mary's had numbers on the left side.
I wonder if the Mafia heard that you were here, so they decided to come out.
Probably. That's probably what it is. They'll be in full force Friday night on our game of the week. High school football as the Grand Lake rivalry takes on St. Mary's and Salina. That is going to be loud. Doesn't matter where you are. Everybody in the world, pretty sure around the area, is going to be at that game. 6:45 now left in the second half, and that's St. Mary's wins. It's pretty simple. At least a share of the Western Buckeye League if they beat Salina on Friday night.
Yeah. Well, if they're not there, they're going to be checking the score on Twitter, obviously.
Or listening to it on the radio.
Exactly.
Again, you can do both. You can listen to it and then watch it back if you are so inclined. I know there's a lot of people that do that. We're pretty happy about that. Now as the Roughriders come back, that's on K94, myself and the guy who does the better job, and Denny Cisco. He's part of the illustrious Cisco family. I'm pretty sure he's also related to half the town.
I was going to say, it doesn't get much more St. Mary's than that.
No, it doesn't.
Cisco.
You'd be happy for the first 20 minutes of this one. You talked about how St. Mary's came out aggressive early on. Wapak, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you go back to that one goal. Really, St. Mary's has done a tremendous job of being able to shut down the lanes.
Yeah, and I think, really, if you don't give that penalty call, based off what we've seen here, this could still very easily be 0-0. But you do have to credit St. Mary's for what they've been able to do. I'm not saying Wapak took their foot off the pedal a little bit. I think they just started to calm down. They had the goal. They weren't playing under so much pressure, and they've really been able to set up just the midfield, and they're not really stressing getting forward. They're staying back, protecting the counterattack. They're leaving defenders back where, as if this was still a 0-0 game, you may see them pushing more numbers forward. And now at the 5-minute mark, you're going to see St. Mary's try to push those numbers forward.
And also on both sides, it kind of hasn't been said enough, but Allie Moore and then ultimately Leah Patterson for the Roughriders, and on the other side, Corinne Rainey for Wapak. They've done a tremendous job because a couple of these balls on each side have not been easy to determine, should I play this? Can my defense kick this one away? And there's another one.
That was dangerous and a great opportunity for the Roughriders, but now they get the corner, and that's their first one.
So they'll walk it down to the corner.
They're going to strike. It's got to be here.
Sometimes I try and get out of the way so people can see the clock, and it doesn't work out that way.
No defenders back, and you know what? I think they're sending the keeper forward as well, the Roughriders.
Yeah, she'll come out towards midfield now as St. Mary's tries to play one in motion, headed back out of the front of the box by Wapak. That might put a quick stop to it as St. Mary's able to keep it. And you talked about the keeper. Not only did she come out to midfield, but she also slipped. And she's got a long way to get back as Wapak is going to steal this one, and Monger puts a long boot into one. Down to the final 4 minutes here in the second half.
And now, remember, it didn't come into effect there, but it is the offsides call is the second to last defender, and the keeper counts as a defender. So if she was to go forward and there was someone still behind her, she would then become the second to last defender. Although once you get past midfield, the offsides line is the midfield stripe.
And I would say some pushing and shoving going on. Madison Rust over on the left side will win that battle. Wapak fans, I can tell you they're not happy. 3:20 to go. I can hear them all the way across the way.
Here they go again, pushing those numbers forward.
But again, half the people are always unhappy.
Exactly.
So St. Mary's now with an opportunity here. And there you go. You talked about the goalkeeper. She's all the way across midfield, headed back into the box and off the foot of a Wapak defender. But St. Mary's now looking to continue. Quick couple of steps for Patterson. Put it back in play, and the Roughriders are the aggressor as a staunch wind blows through. It's blowing their way. Ball cleared back out now towards the center. Smart play by Abby Rupert. Saw that ball coming and was able to get herself in front of it. And I think she was ultimately able to kind of help her team get a throw in.
Well, here's where, if you're Walpock, you take your time now. They're not going to have that luxury, though.
It went off of Rupert. Meredith McMurray tried to say, hey, could you give me the ball? It's right back now into the box. Both coaches, I can hear them right down underneath their press box with 2 minutes to go. Misplayed by Wapak. Kami Linhart tried to boot one out of there. And it ends up in the Wapak bench.
Got to go quick.
St. Mary's now with 1:55 down 1-0. We'll bring in Emma White.
Interesting sub with very little time left. You got to rush them on and get off quickly.
So Roughriders will send Allie Will now back down to the corner. Tries to foot one back across for St. Mary's. Rush comes right up at her. And here comes White now on her dribble off to the left side. Shot back across and off the one bounce on that line drive. Another stop for Rainey. Now 4 in the contest. 3 of those, though, coming in short order. Roughriders down to 1:15 now. Wapak on top 1-0.
Well, last minute approaching, so as soon as you get this ball across midfield, everyone needs to go forward.
I've seen a couple of games now that have gone in the last 30 seconds to either equalize or go ahead this year.
Here comes that push from the Roughriders.
Audubon, I was at a game earlier this year, got one with 1 second for a 3-3 tie with Bryan.
And no extra time in high school soccer, so you got to get it before the time expires. It's got to go through, into the goal, through the line, cross the line before time expires.
Roughriders now with 45 seconds to get that one goal.
Very much like hockey.
I was just thinking that same thing. And a ball, oh, great cross. Just to keep that play, because if that goes to Emily Rupert, there is a big discussion about it being 2-0 Wapak. Down to 27 seconds, and the foul call against the Redskins.
Got to go quick. Get that second ball off the field. There you go.
Kick comes with 18. Long kick towards the box, takes a header and a bounce off the right foot.
That was it right there.
And it's right to Rainey again, and she's just going to hold it out, and that'll be that. Wapakoneta will get to 16-0 and finish off their WBL championship season at 9-0 in the conference.
Heck of a game.
That's an impressive win for the Redskins. Back with more to finish it off here on Game Face Ohio.
Stars and Stripes Graphics is your local screen printer located just east of the St. Mary's Memorial High School. Visit our showroom for all things Rough Rider, including jackets, sweatshirts, hats, sweatpants, ball caps, and more. We also carry items for New Knoxville Rangers and select collegiate gear for Ohio State and Michigan. Stars and Stripes Graphics, your local screen printer.
Hello?
Call dropped?
Hello?
No more minutes? Lost your phone? Don't worry, telephone service from TSC is always crystal clear. Never runs out of minutes, never has a dead battery, and most importantly, in an emergency, it displays your address for 911. Plus, TSC keeps you connected with free calling in our expanded calling area. Ask about telephone service from TSC today.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3, call TSC.
Strength is about so much more than the body. It's about being together, serving, sharing, and caring for those around us. It's about keeping score in the heart rather than on a scoreboard. Be a part of a community that builds more than your body. At the Wapakoneta Family YMCA.
Back here at Rough Rider Field in St. Mary's, a 1-0 win for the Western Buckeye League champion Wapakoneta Redskins. And a big part of that early on, it comes off a penalty kick, the lone goal of the game. And Eli, a little bit of a look at how exactly that came to be.
Yeah, and it was really just a real simple, nothing much you can do about it when you go back and look at the replay. You're going to see number 27, Katie Monger, get in there for Walpock, and she's going to be very aggressive as she starts to move. You see Meredith McMurray coming in, then she's going for the ball as well, and basically the advantage goes to Menger. She gets in front of McMurray. She can't stop her forward momentum. It's a clear penalty, but you can't fault McMurray for what she was trying to do. She was trying to make a play on the ball, and of course then Menger puts it away, and that really was the perfect spot to put that penalty. As I mean, it is what it is sometimes. You got one little thing that happens and it changes the whole ball game.
You got to credit what both St. Mary's goaltenders and Patterson and Moore were able to do in this game, but you think about that bounce too. If you watch Katie Monger right before that she gets run into, it takes that extra little hop right in front of where she was at, and that's just enough time. That bounce isn't there, probably not the foul, and like you said later in this contest, this could probably end 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you go back and look at it, and like you said, you take away that foul altogether, it's coming right down to the end, and you're not going to see St. Mary's put as many bodies forward. You're going to see Walpock maybe because they're the team that everyone expects to win, so they feel the pressure. But what that goal ultimately did for the Redskins was calm them down the rest of the game. They were able to play their style of soccer, and it really just gave them the confidence going forward. Although you've got to credit St. Mary's because, I mean, Walpock just kept putting it on after that, and they were able to hold pat with just the one goal.
The Redskins will end their regular season tournament play next for them. St. Mary's home on Thursday against Bell Fountain. Thursday night, we have got the reversal of this matchup in Wapak. The boys for St. Mary's will take on the Redskins. Friday night high school football as the Battle of Grand Lake sees Salina play host to St. Mary's. That's all we have, a 1-0 win for Wapak here tonight. For Eli, I'm Mike and the guys in the truck. Have a great night and even better tomorrow from all of us here at Game Face Ohio.